Hi, everyone. I want to talk to you today about guilt, especially mom guilt. All right. But really just guilt in general, because I think that is a huge theme in women's lives, especially. And so if somebody could kind of give me a thumbs up and let me know the video's working and that you can hear me, because I am using my laptop instead of my phone. So if somebody could just comment, then I will know for sure that this is live and I'm not talking and it's silent. But I want to talk to you about guilt, because we all have it. But I think women especially have a ton of guilt, right? So my guilt voice talks all the time. It tells me that I'm not a good enough mother. It tells me that I should feel guilty for having a house cleaner. It tells me to feel guilty for being snappy to one of my siblings this week. It tells me I've not been a good enough daughter. It tells me lots of things, right? We feel guilty all of the time. And so I was listening to a podcast today when I went for a run, which is Liz Gilbert's Big Magic podcast. And if you haven't heard of it, y'all need to download it. I read her book, Big Magic, and this is where she breaks apart all of the pieces and talks about what it's like to live a magical life and to be creative and to go after your dreams. And so one of the things that we teach in our Science of Happiness talk is this idea that it is okay sometimes to put yourself first. And that is a really difficult thing, especially for mothers. I know generations of mothers before us never put themselves first, right? Like they always put their family first. I remember with my own mom, she would prepare the meal every night. She would be the last one to get her plate. She would be the last one to join the dinner table, which was in fact a bar with 4 bar stools, and there were 5 of us. So my mom would pull up the small little chair in front of the dishwasher, and that's where she sat. And I think that many people were raised in a generation, if you were a woman, that you put everyone first. Like your job is to be a mom and to be a mom only, and that your needs don't matter. And I actually think that philosophy hurt a lot of women. I think that it made them angry and resentful sometimes later on in their lives, because they never knew how to take care of themselves. They never knew it was okay to put themselves first. And I think this is a theme that continues to carry over into the genetic makeup of who we are as females. And I know recently, well, this was probably a year ago, I ran into a young mother, and she stopped me and she said, "Kim, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I feel actually really shameful to tell you this, but I have 2 young kids that are 2 and 3 years old. And I have every reason in the world to be happy in my life. They're healthy. I'm a mother. But I can tell you, I do not know why, but I'm not happy. I feel like all my life revolves around going to work, driving to Walmart, picking up the groceries, fixing meals, cleaning the house, changing diapers, playing with my kids, getting them their baths, going to bed. And then I wake up the next day and I do the exact same thing again. And I don't even know who I am anymore. And I feel like I've completely lost myself." And I said to this particular mother, all right, we'll call her Rose. I said, "Rose, here's the deal. You still, even as a mother, need to put yourself first some of the time, because your happiness and well-being matters. So I want you to think of this. Do you want your children to grow up watching mommy constantly put them first and always take care of them and never have enough self-love to take care of herself? When your kids grow up, do you want them to repeat the same behaviors you did, which is, I give to everyone and I become a mother and I completely lose everything else that has to do with me, because that's just the role of motherhood?" And I said, "Rose, do you want your children to grow up? Because someday they're going to become adults. They're going to be young mothers themselves. And you want them to know that it's okay to love themselves enough to also take care of their needs, right? So as a mother, you need to take care of your own needs. You need to carve out time to put yourself first some of the time." Now I'm going to stop right there, because I also know that there are many, many, many times where we have to put our children first. There are many times when my kid does come first, but I also come first some of the time. And I think that this is super important for women. When I was listening to Liz Gilbert's broadcast this morning, she was kind of explaining that women in particular have this guilt, right? Because we're the members of society who most need permission to do the things that ignite our soul. Like, we need to be given permission that it's okay to have a career and be a mom, right? I can feel guilty sometimes because I'm not a stay-at-home mom. Most recently, I had a really aha when it came to guilt, because I've been working on this whole thing, and we had been on vacation for an entire week with our son and his friend in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We came back, got back Friday evening. He had an AAU basketball tourney Saturday and Sunday. I had 2 10-hour days worth of work that I had to get done by Monday. So I opted not to go to the basketball game. Yes, it felt uncomfortable to me. I felt guilty about it the whole weekend. I thought, I'm not the mom I need to be. He's going to be going into his senior year, and I've just said goodbye to 2 days of watching him play basketball. But here's the deal. There's like this deep sense that once you become a mother, that your lives exclusively belong to your children. And that anything you do for yourself, you're taking that away from your children. And here's what I think, and this is what I'm working on as I'm listening to this podcast too, that I am more than a mother. I do have a career that fuels me, ignites me, and excites me. And I can be both. There are times when maybe I do have to model to my son that, yeah, mommy had to work all day Saturday and Sunday, and she had to miss this particular game. She goes to almost all of them, but I am choosing this weekend to miss these 2 days worth of games, and I'm going to be here in my office working because this is the busiest 3 weeks of my entire year. And you know what? He had no problem with it. It was me that was having the issue. I was having all the mom guilt, right? I'm thinking of all the moms that I know that would never miss one of their kids' games. And I really think that we have to get over this idea that when you become a mother, that you have to hand over your entire life to your children. And we have to get over the fact that if we choose to also have a career on top of being a mother, or to do other things that fuel and ignite our own passion, our own desires, that's for some reason wrong. And so I think we have to quit carrying that guilt. You know, I go back to that young mother, Rose. I had to say to her, Rose, do you want your children, your daughters, to grow up and feel like you do right now? That basically they have just given over their entire lives to their children, and whatever part of them that was left is now gone, and they're not going to see that for another 18 years. Or do you want your children to grow up and say, you know what? My mom was a really good mom. She was there for most things, but my mom also loved herself enough to sometimes take care of her. That's what I want to model to my kid. I want my child to grow up and know that his mother was happy, that his mother sometimes made decisions that were in his best interest, and sometimes she made decisions that were in her best interest. Because when I can do that, when I can also have my own passion, my own mission that I want to bring to the world, my own creative projects that I'm working on, when I can do that, that also fuels my soul, then I am a better mother. I am a better friend. I'm a better individual because I have myself in check, and I'm acknowledging that there's more to me than just completely giving my life over to my children or whatever it might be, that it's okay to live in both worlds. And I think like we as women have to be given permission to do that. You know, if you want to model being a martyr to your kids, guess what? Your kids are going to grow up, they're going to be martyrs. Is that the life that you want them to lead? And so I really think that we just need to have this conversation about how do we chase after our dreams, even if we have young kids? How do we acknowledge that there are some things that I want to do that might take away from me being a mother at times? And is that a healthy balance? Because I think that it is. And, you know, I'm going to go back to this whole guilt thing again, because like we feel it all the time as women. It's like that internal record that just rolls in our head. And I was having a conversation recently with a friend, because she's like, I just have guilt like over everything. She's like, if I'm standing in the Walmart line and I only have like 5 items and the person behind me has, she's got like 20 items and the person behind her only has like 5 items. She's like, I feel so guilty. She's like, so I let the other person go in front of me, which like is a nice gesture, right? But like, why do you have to feel guilty about that? And let me just give you an example of her latest one, because I adore this friend of mine. She and I have the richest, deepest conversations. And we've been talking about this whole, because she's a stay-at-home mom and I'm a career woman, right? So like I see her living her life, being like this amazing mother at home with her children. And I think, God, I wish I could have done that. Like I didn't get to be that stay-at-home mom. I mean, I was in the summer when I was teaching, but I didn't get to be that stay-at-home mom. And did I take something away from my kids? And then she's kind of watching my life going, oh, I love being a stay-at-home mom, but like not always. Like sometimes I want to jump in the car, Kim, and drive north or get on an airplane and go away like you do and do something that really fuels my heart and my passion. And so the most recent example she gave me of guilt, and you guys are going to really like this. I thought this is so true of women. This is how crazy and irrational we can get with our guilt. She had to get her driver's license renewed. All right. Now, she's lost 10 pounds, which normally doesn't happen, right, to us women. Like usually we kind of lie about our weight on our driver's license and we move on. But for some reason, she lost like 10 pounds since last time she had to get her driver's license. So she's standing in line and she's like, Kim, I've been trying to observe all the things that I feel guilty for. And she said, I witnessed myself do this. I was in line to get my driver's license renewed, and the lady asked me if my weight was the same. And there was a heavier set woman behind her, and she goes, I was going to feel guilty if I said, actually, no, I'm 10 pounds lighter, like I'm now 121. So she goes, I just lied. Like I lied to the driver's license lady about my weight when in fact I had lost weight because I didn't want the person behind me to feel guilty for their weight. And both of us just laughed like, how crazy is that? This is exactly what we do as women. I do not know why, but we feel guilty about everything. And so I guess the point of this whole video is if you need permission to try to at least let go of some of that guilt. Or like for me, when I had to make the decision about not going to my son's basketball games, I knew it would feel uncomfortable. I knew it would turn in my head the whole weekend and I'd be like, did I do the right thing? And should I have done that? But I did it anyway. I did it anyway because I knew that I have to quit feeling guilty for not being 100% available for him all the time because I do have a career and that's part of who I am too. And my work belongs to, it desires to go out into the world and do really big things. And that's important too. So I want to give all of you women and mothers especially permission to sometimes put yourself first. Even if it means that you have to, in your head, think, yes, what do I really want to model for my children? Do I want to model for my children that mommy has enough self-love for herself, that she also knows how to take care of herself at times, that she shows me that it's okay sometimes to choose you some of the time? That's my challenge for you. I want you to do something that is just for you in the next week. All right? Go do it.